Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's edition of Roundabout Sports presented by Interstate 70 Sports Media, where our passion is our profession. I'm Jeremy Karp. Yes, I got a fresh haircut and I feel so naked without my big old thick beard. Like, oh my gosh. But thank you so much for tuning in, whether you are listening on Facebook, on our Twitter, whether you're tuning in on Spotify, Anchor, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, so much more. I just greatly appreciate it. And I know everybody that's involved with Roundabout Sports and Interstate 70 Sports Media appreciates it as well. Tonight is a very special episode because we are hyping up an event that is basically probably almost well over 2 years in the making, but an event specifically 3 years in the making. And that is what's known as Jams and Slams. And later on, in just a few minutes, actually, we're going to have two of the kick-ass representatives from the arch rival Roller Derby League. And we are going to talk about this event. It's basically where roller derby and professional wrestling combined for one amazing night. I cannot begin to describe. I went to the first one back in the end of 2019, and I was so pumped up for the one that was going to happen in 2020. And then, the pandemic hit and we didn't have anything in 2020, didn't have anything in 2021, but here we are. And it'll happen this Saturday, May 21st, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. at Queenie Park in Baldwin, Missouri. And we got ourselves quite a matchup because you are going to have the Block and Roll Express facing off against the New Wheeled Order. And if you're a big professional wrestling fan, you will definitely get those. And if not, well, you'll find out soon enough. And like I said, Dynamo Pro Wrestling will also be there as the Empress of Evil, Reign Victoria, will be defending her title against the Monarch, Maddie Exodus, and the Simply Rebellious One, Ashlyn Alexander, in a triple threat match for the Dynamo Pro Women's Championship. And Reign Victoria has been champion for over 4 years now. This is the most dangerous chance that she has at losing her title. We also will be having the Dynamo Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Champion Camaro Jackson, as he will be defending his belt against international star Kareem Brigante. We'll also have a couple other matches on the card to be announced later. But back in February of 2020, over 675 people attended at Queenie Park for the inaugural Jams and Slams event. And both the respective arch rival Roller Derby and Dynamo Pro franchises, they've been around for over 15 years in the local sports scene, two of the most popular sports in the St. Louis area. I'm telling you, folks, this second installment is definitely one you won't want to miss. Tickets are going to be $15 at the door, $12 in advance, and children 10 and under are free. Now, I must stress and make this clear. There is a COVID policy. A proof of vaccination or a negative test is required for the entry. I just want to put that out there for everyone. And believe me, for an event like this, it's okay. You can manage it just fine. With that, I'm also going to go over a couple quick things in the rest of the sports world first. Right now, in the bottom of the fourth inning, the St. Louis Cardinals and the New York Mets are tied at 2 apiece. Albert Pujols actually hit a 2-run single, which put him in a tie with Eddie Collins, the late Hall of Famer, for 10th all-time in Major League history in hits. So congratulations to Albert Pujols on that mark. Meanwhile, out in Kansas City, in the top of the second inning, the White Sox and the Kansas City Royals are tied at 0. The White Sox do have someone on second base with nobody out. And like I said, we will be keeping track of these games throughout the show. Last night, unfortunately, the St. Louis Blues lost to the Colorado Avalanche in Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals. And folks, I'm going to just say it right now. Jordan Binnington did his best Ben Bishop impersonation. I said it on Twitter last night and on Facebook, on the Facebook pages. I mean, he stopped well over 50 shots. The problem was the Blues could not get the puck out of the zone. St. Louis was outshot 13-0 in the overtime period. They lost 3-2 in overtime, and it was a hard-fought battle, but you know what? There's always game 2. There's always another battle, so this series is far from over, and I want people to realize that, and that St. Louis is still very much alive in this thing. We're just getting started, folks. With that said, I think it is time to bring on our first guest. Now, she is one of the most intimidating and dominant performers on the arch rival roller derby circuit. And she is also, believe it or not, off the rink. She is the let me go and double check. Yep, the president of the arch rival roller derby. Definitely a longtime member, and it is my pleasure to introduce her to Roundabout Sports this evening. So, folks, here we go. The one, the only, the WydleSyde.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going all right. How are you doing this evening?
I am well, doing well.
So it has been, first thing I have to say is it has been over 2 years since you ladies have, had a big roller derby event. So how does it feel finally knowing that in just 3 days you're going to be back?
It is the most exciting thing. It's so great to finally be able to be back hitting my friends again and taking out that frustration and aggravation of daily life and being able to get back out there and be competitive and just, have that side of myself that I've been missing, that wild side. So definitely so excited for the event this weekend. And of course, always happy to be welcoming back Dynamo Pro as well. So.
Now, what was it like for you when you were taking part in the first Jams and Slam event back in 2020?
Well, that was so long ago. It's hard to remember. But I do recall, of course, the Smashinistas is my local team. And we, of course, beat our opponent that night. And because we were actually going into a championship game at the end of last year when we had to shut down. So all I remember is that it was a great game because we won. And of course, and got to watch the wrestling after our bout. So it was really nice seeing them after our game and being able to really enjoy that and take it in and not realizing that was going to be our last game for a while. So.
I was going to say, and when was the next match? Do you remember how far away it was for the next match before the pandemic just said, you know what, screw everything, we're just going to shut the world down?
Usually they're only a few weeks in between games, so it wouldn't have been that far away. I know the last thing I really remember is we were going to have our quarterly league meeting, and we had to cancel that and said, we'll see, it should be back in, month or whatever. We didn't really know at the time, but yeah, that's the last thing I really remember. And then it just kept going and going and going. So.
And WydleSyde, I have to ask, you are also the president of the Arch Rival Roller Derby League. How long have you held that position?
I was actually voted into the position this last year. Prior to that, I held the secretary position, always been on membership, coaching committee, all the things. It's all volunteer, but they're voted on roles within our league. So,
as the president of the league, what is some of the big responsibilities that are put upon your shoulders?
Yeah. So the biggest thing is just running the league, right? We, like I said, we're all volunteer basis. So as the president, you kind of just oversee most of the operations, making sure everything's going smooth. When issues occur, I'm pretty much the first one that people go to kind of bounce ideas or, see what's going on with that. We're also looking for a practice space right now. So if anybody out there knows of anything, let us know. We're always looking for a new space to be able to practice. But just in general, running the league, answering questions, doing paperwork, all of the administrative things that you would think of, that's pretty much what I do. So normal basis, it's just a lot of work.
When did you first become, now, you said you were voted in as the president last year, but when did you first become a member of the Arch Rival Roller Derby League.
Yeah, so I believe it's been 4 years now, actually. So I transferred in from another league, and that's how most of our skaters come in. So I played for a team in Topeka, Kansas called Capital City Crushers, and I moved to Decatur, Illinois for a job at Caterpillar. And I ended up not really wanting to stick around the league up there, but traveling back and forth to play. So I actually drove 2.5 hours one way, like 2 to 3 times a week. And I said, finally, after a year and a half, I was done with that. Moved down to St. Louis in July of 2019. And then guess what? So, but it was still great. I got a job down here. I loved it down here and definitely planning on sticking around.
So for those that aren't exactly familiar with what women's flat track roller derby is, just kind of explain, kind of give a quick rundown of what it is and why it is a lot more intense than it may seem to the casual person from the outside perspective.
Yeah, so the short version of roller derby, which can be kind of difficult, but it is completely competitive. We are very competitive on our league, as our all-star league is number 5 in the world. We also have B and C teams. So we go everywhere. We travel. Again, this is a volunteer pay-to-play sport. So we are in it with our own money and we enjoy it. We like to have fun. So as far as the sport is concerned and how it's played, there is no ball. There's none of that. A lot of people think, like roller ball or whatever. That's not it at all. We use our bodies to hit each other and we play offense. Yeah, we play offense and defense at the same time. There is a person who is called a jammer, and they are the point scorer for the team. And then you have blockers whose job it is, again, to play offense and defense. They play offense and defense to get their jammer through, but also stop the other team's jammer. So once you get the jammer through one time through what is called the pack, which is the group of blockers, once they get around the track one time and through, then their job is to pass as many people on the other team as possible. For each person they pass, that is a point. So if the jammer gets past all 4 blockers, they get 4 points. They go around again and they do it all over until 2 minutes is up, or the lead jammer, whoever got out first out of that pack, calls off the jam. And there's a lot of strategy to it. Again, if they want to call it off, it could be to, score more point or to help the other team not score any points. They might not call it off because they might want their players to get out of the penalty box. So we have a full lineup coming out to the next 2-minute jam. So at the end of the day, whoever gets the most points wins the game. And there's 2 halves. I believe it's 30-minute halves. And there's penalties. So no, there is no crazy, go out there and clothesline like it was in the 70s roller derby. There's lots of rules. Too many rules, but you can't, clothesline, right? You can't clothesline. You can't take people out. You can't forearm them or elbow them or whatever. But that's what the wrestling's for after our game. So you'll get your fill of that.
Right. And you mentioned, and it's great that you mentioned that it does harken back to roller derby back on 1970s Saturday Night TV.
Yeah.
And of course, back then you could do a lot more than you can do now. But has there ever been an instance where just kind of in the heat of the moment, whether you or somebody against you has dealt with, I don't know if I'd want to say a clothesline, just something that definitely is not what you want to be feeling, rolling around at a high rate of speed?
Yes. There's always things like that happen. And, especially in games like this, even though we're all teammates, because we are so competitive, things like that occur. And we're able to, call official reviews and stuff like that to see if it should be warranted more penalty minutes or however we want to do it. Right. So It's one of those where, yes, it can get a little bit crazy and a little bit, I guess, wild, is a word that you can use for it. But at the end of the day, we're all friends out there. We're a great community. So it can get a little crazy at times, but at the end of the day, we're all there to have fun. and be competitive with each other. So it's nothing that's going to completely take people out. There are injuries, there, breaks, things like that occur. But at the end of the day, like I said, we're a great community and we're all there for each other.
You're the type of group that has no problem, pushing and shoving, but at the same time going out having a beer or something afterwards, or
Very
just
much.
just having a good time. So, and at the end of the day, that is what matters. Is you do it for the fun, like you said, it is pay to play. So here's something. Now, is it just pay to play? You have tryouts. I mean, how do you determine who makes the teams, basically?
So yes, pay to play. We do have officials and non-skating officials as well, and they do not have to pay. They're all volunteer as well. We will actually give them money to come out and help us referee in NSO. So feel free to come join that way as well. And to join the league, we actually have onboarding and recruiting going on. Actually, Soup, the next person who you'll be interviewing, is running that. So feel free to ask her additional details about that. But you can do an intro to roller derby and an intro to roller skating with our team and become a league member that way. And it's just a one-time payment to be in the boot camp, and you'll get trained by the best. So we look forward to everybody always coming out and joining us. We're always looking for more people and to build our league back up, because obviously the pandemic did take a toll on our numbers, just as every other team. So we're always looking for more skaters, and hopefully we'll see you out.
What was the highest finish that you've been a part of as far as on a season team?
So I came in, like I said, a few years ago, because we've only been out a couple years. I was on the B team, the Arch Nemesis team, and also the Arch FDLs, the Floor Delinquents. And so for me, I guess it wasn't necessarily about the highest I've been in, but just where I've been able to go and what I've been able to do. So I was able to go to Montreal and play up there in a tournament, and also to Denver and play in the B team championships as well. So, and of course, I'm always there to support our all-star team. So was able to go down to New Orleans and watch them do their championships as well.
How's it feel going to places like you just mentioned? You went to Montreal, which it was a city I've always wanted to go to. So what's it like going to, either nationwide markets or international markets, and just getting to do what you love and or supporting, your best friends, basically?
Yeah, so it's pretty much the best thing to be able to go travel and do what you want to do. And obviously, depending on work and all the day life things that you have to do, that can be a challenge. So I really enjoy being able to take a short little weekend vacation, go play in a tournament, go see a different city I've never been to before. It was amazing getting to go. And that was actually a tournament we were getting ready to go to again when everything shut down. So it's just great. You get to go hang out with all of your team and do the after parties and and explore a city that you've never been to. So it's one of the best things about doing this type of sport, is being able to go places, but also get to play the sport you love. So I really enjoy it.
Where did your passion come from for all this? Like, to become a member of the flat track roller derby team?
So I've always been in sports my entire life. And although, I'm one of those people, we have people in our league who have never played a sport ever and
Really?
come out and play and love it. So just take my story for what it is. I've always been in sports. And it's one of those things where when I, became an adult, it was, well, I don't really have a sport to be in. So, you do random volleyball or softball or whatever. But my brother had a girlfriend who started the Peoria, Illinois Roller Derby League.
Okay.
And was like, hey, you should come do this. You'd be really good at it. Of course, yes, I would love that. But I worked second shift at the time and was not able to do it. So I went and watched and fell in love with it and was like, if I ever get the opportunity to do this, I'm doing it. So I moved to Kansas for a job at Caterpillar, and I was on day shift finally. And I'm like, if I can do this, I'm doing it. So 6 months after I moved there, My husband and I actually went, and my husband's a referee and I'm a player now. So it's one of those where I grew passion from watching the sport, but also was like, this just, it fits with me and how I am and how competitive I am. And, I barely could, I could skate, but I didn't know how to stop. I didn't know, there was
that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't even, like, I'm watching you ladies compete and I'm thinking to myself, wait, how are they going to break? Like, wait a minute, you're going like all the way around on the flat track and it's like, how you stopping? How you slowing down? And I can imagine the amount of practice it definitely will take to get the hang of it.
We train everybody. So we have lots of great coaching people who will help you. And we teach all the way from the basics. So how to stop and just in general skating form, skating backwards, all of those things. So again, intro to roller skating is the boot camp that's going to be coming up here in a few weeks. And for anybody who just wants to learn how to skate, they don't even have to necessarily join our league. It's a great course for anybody who's learning the basics, how to stop and turn around and all of those things. So, but yeah, most people don't know how to do those things when they join our league. So we definitely enjoy bringing on new people and growing our league, but also, helping these people come along with their skating skills, regardless if they want to play roller derby or not.
Absolutely. So, I'm fortunate to know quite a few people that, compete in the Arch Route Roller Derby League. We have yourself. I know Downtown Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And, we have Soup Beans, who I'm actually going to bring on in just a minute. But I have to ask, with all the names, all the nicknames and athlete names, how do you come up with them? Like, is it just on a play or,
everybody has their own way and their own reasons behind their names. Usually, sometimes somebody called them something and it just stuck. For me, it was all based around music. And most people are like, what? It's WydleSyde. Like, how is that a thing? So for me, my favorite musician is Zakk Wylde, and he is on Black Label Society. He plays guitar for Ozzy Osbourne. And he was my favorite musician for years and still is one of my favorite musicians. So my name is specifically spelled like his last name. But I wanted to make it into a name, and I was thinking, what can I make? Right. So I ended up with WydleSyde, and it's definitely fitting. Especially what I do on a normal basis and kind of like my demeanor and who I am as a person. It's definitely like, it makes sense. It definitely makes sense.
Well, I'll admit, when I first saw your name as WydleSyde, I thought back to, and maybe this is just the old soul in me, I thought back to the classic, I believe 60s or 70s song, Walk on the Wild Side by Lou Reed. That's
a lot of people do.
That's where I've got. I was like, yeah, take a walk on the wild side. Like, there we go, perfect. Yeah. But
and
no,
just so you know, my name is not going to be that this Saturday. I'm going to be Holly Wild Hulk Hogan for sure, because he was my favorite wrestler back in the 90s, even when he became Hollywood Hogan. So
even when he became the bad, even when he was the bad guy.
Yes. So that Hollywood Hogan will be my name on Saturday.
Well, here I have one question as I make this transition. Are you and Soup Beans going to be on the same team this Saturday?
No. And NWO is going to win.
Well, folks, I must say I have somebody from the lovely competition known as the Block and Roll Express waiting to get on, and I'm sure she has a couple things she'll want to say to her dear friend. Ladies and gentlemen, she is as you had heard earlier, the head of recruitment here at the arch rival Roller Derby League, the one, the only Soup Beans.
Yeah.
Hey, that was an introduction. That was a very serious introduction.
It was great.
Well, thank you. I do my best. I try. So I found out you two aren't going to be on the same team, unfortunately. You're on the same team after these events, but Daringham, it's a different story.
You asked that, and I was like, I don't know the answer. I'm glad you did. I didn't know. Sorry.
I figured the president would be the one to know. Hopefully,
I'm on coaching. I like made the teams. I should know. I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, how are you doing this evening?
We're doing all right. Just hanging out on the internet, man.
As I was asking WydleSyde earlier, how's it feel knowing in just 3 days you're all going to be back in action for the first time in a hot minute, as far as like in front of a big audience and everything?
I don't know, man. Like, exciting, I guess. I honestly forget everything that happens as soon as we're done. So whether there's people being excited or we're just, at practice, I feel like it feels the same. And maybe I'm the only person that feels that way. But I do get excited when I get heckled. So let's hope.
Out of the two of you, which one do you think's one that gets penalized more?
Ooh. I don't know. I think we're both pretty clean players. Like, we're not in the box a lot, I don't think.
Well, good.
Yeah,
there we
I'm
go.
not either, but if I am, I'm in the box the whole time. So
me too. I'm the same. Yeah.
So
you have those nights. I don't know.
This might be the time. I clothesline you. I heard you guys talking about it. So.
Maybe. Please don't, but maybe.
Is there somebody, and like I said, it's all for the sake of, fun. Is there somebody that's notorious for, really embracing that adrenaline that gets inside of her and ends up in the penalty box?
I was waiting for you. I was like, are we going to say the same person?
I don't know. I was trying to think.
I was going to say She-Kill.
Yes.
And that's what you just
said. That's just where my
talking.
brain went, was She for sure.
Listen, she's just spicy. She's spicier than I am, and that's okay.
Yeah, I love her to death. And I don't even care that she's in the box all the time.
She's not, though. Like, she's working on a lot. It's good. Yes. It's good.
I can't wait.
I hope she is this weekend, because she's on your team, because she's not on mine. So
there you go. So how often do you ladies practice per week for the upcoming games or competitions?
It's like 1.5 times right now, because like we're trying to slowly get back our practice times. I mean, but the before times it was so many days.
4. We had 4. It was 3 league days and an advanced day, I think. Yeah, that's why we need rink space.
I mean, considering, I think we're all doing pretty freaking good. Like 1 time a week for a couple hours. Like, yeah, I think we're doing pretty great.
And so I was just going to say, I had it and then, okay, here we go. Now I remember. So I had asked WydleSyde about what it's like for the whole Jams and Slams co-op type event. What's going to be like for you? I know you're more of a casual wrestling fan. You had talked to me before the show about some of pro wrestling. So what's it going to be like for you, especially considering off of the first Jams and Slams event?
That first one, I didn't know what to expect, because I'm only familiar with like professional wrestling versus like smaller scale. It was so freaking cool. Like, it was amazing. I was like, I don't know, maybe. No, it was so fun, and I was really, really into it. And like the trash talk was
so good.
I mean, it's what we're here for, but like it was so good. So whenever they were planning this one, I'm like, please tell me we're doing it again. And we are, and I'm so excited. Honestly, I'll be like, okay, yeah, we played a game and that was fun and all, but can I just go grab a beer and do my own heckling? Because that's a good time. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, I think that's one thing a lot of the ladies, I'm sure, are excited for. Obviously not just doing your event. So one first thing, before I continue, are they events, games, competitions? So like, what are these matchups considered in roller derby?
It's a good time.
Okay, well,
no, I know it's a game.
It's a game.
I tend to be interchangeable between bout and game, but bout is very old school term.
Bout's old school, and honestly, it's pretty badass. I do like that.
I mean, I still like it, but it's game.
It's game. Okay, just wanted to make sure. Like, But I mean, yeah, think about it one day. Hey, I'm just gonna go leave. I'm going to the roller derby bout. Like, ooh, now we gotta really get a drink and watch that. That's gonna be intense. But no, I can totally imagine just afterwards we're gonna have crowds full of the New Wheeled Order and the Block and Roll Express just behind all of us. I'm probably going to be at the commentary table at Dynamo and just hearing everybody heckling. So there's plenty of people to cheer and not so much in Dynamo. So it's going to be an amazing co-event. I know the crowd, one thing I remember that I was personally concerned about. I knew there was going to be a great turnout for the event, but what I was worried about was how many people were going to stay after the roller derby games to watch the Dynamo Pro Wrestling event. And thankfully enough, it was a great crowd all night long, and they were all really into it. Whether you were watching roller derby or wrestling, there wasn't a bad seat in the house. Now you had mentioned WydleSyde that you are looking for, and I guess you both are looking for a official facility. So where do you currently practice?
The St. Louis Stadium.
St. Louis Stadium?
Yes, it's down in, I think, what is it, the River City neighborhood area?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know the event is taking place at Queenie Park, which is usually one of the more popular places for these games, and honestly, just in general, Queenie Park's a great place. I really love it.
Yeah, Midwest Sports Hockey has been really good to us, so we do appreciate them.
I was gonna say, what now? I also have to ask, and I know WydleSyde, you said you actually have somewhere to be, so I won't take up too much more of your time. But I do want to thank you so much for being on. Overall, I guess, gosh, how should I word this? Okay. Ooh. What is besides winning, obviously, and having fun, what is a big strategy you have going into the games?
Ooh. For me, it is very specific around a positive mindset, specifically around being competitive, but not a bad competitive person. Right. I would have said a different word normally. And then also around positive space and energy around not feeling like I may get injured or hurt or something like that. With previous injuries, it's a thing that sticks with me. And remembering that I will not get hurt and it's going to be a great game. And it doesn't matter if I win or lose, even though I really want to win. Right. and just be a positive person and give my teammates, that positivity that we all need in gameplay, and trying to make sure that I also remember that every jam's a new jam. And that way it's, because at the end of the day, no matter what you did in the last jam, that's not going to help you in your next jam. The next jam is completely different than the one before. So you have to go out there and play it like a new game, literally every time you're out on the track.
Very nice. I love that. Every jam's a new jam. That's a really good one. Soup Beans, what about you?
I said, I'm going to think about this because he's going to ask me. Instead, I just listened to every word you said, Wild. I think that we all get really tied up in being super competitive, and that's why we do have so many talented skaters. That's why our ranking is so high. But being that we've been off for 2 years, the last few months bringing people back has been a lot of kind of getting everybody on the same page. And with these kind of games, like the variety of experience and skill level, I think like WydleSyde, like going in with like good vibes with your team. And listen, I'm not a sports guy. I told you that earlier. So I was like, you said you're gonna talk about sports. I said, well, I don't really know. I don't know other sports, but sorry. But like when you watch other things, sometimes it's not necessarily, I mean, regardless of the score in roller derby, I feel like it's always entertaining. And as a participant, as long as you keep your vibes right, like win or lose, like whether the score is close or far apart, like it's still really fun.
Yeah.
So it's important to keep that in mind, especially games like these that, you know, it's for everybody. It's not just for a score on a piece of paper.
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, like, you know, like I was saying with Wild before we brought you on, it was just like you ladies are competing against each other, but at the end of the day, you're also going to be drinking beers and celebrating and just having a good time because you're like a family, you know, and that definitely is so important and crucial when it comes to the big picture. So, WydleSyde, I really want to thank you so much for being on. I know you definitely have a lot of things to prepare for
Yes.
as we get closer, and I can't wait to see you on Saturday. I'm It's hard for me to play sides on which team will win, especially when they're both on different teams. So we'll see how this goes. But I know you both are going to do an amazing job. So WydleSyde, I look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Thank you so much for having us. I do appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, WydleSyde here on Roundabout Sports. I will be right back with Soup Beans. So stay tuned. All right. Well, we are back. And folks, quick score updates going on here. Well, unfortunately, the New York Mets have taken a lead 3-2 in the bottom of the fifth. They got 2 men on base with nobody out because why not? And then, heaven forbid, the Royals have tied it. They were down 1-0 to the Chicago White Sox, but in the top of the third, with 1 out, the White Sox and Royals are tied at 1. So, had to get that quick score update in there. And just for the sake of a couple other key games going on, the Milwaukee Brewers are up 7-6 on the Atlanta Braves. And the Chicago Cubs are trailing the Pirates, thank the Lord, 3-2. And the Cincinnati Reds have not faced off against the Cleveland Guardians today because it got postponed because Major League Baseball felt really bad for the Reds that their record is so piss poor they don't want them to lose any more games. Fair enough. I understand. Okay, so back to us.
Hello.
Howdy.
How you doing?
So you are the head of recruitment. And how much of a strain can that be? How much fun do you have with it? Like, because you play a big role. I mean, everybody seems to play such a big role in, based off what WydleSyde was telling me, in regards to everybody volunteering their time for a certain role in the league. And yours is helping basically the next batch of competitors. So what's that role like for you?
Well, it's been a very relaxing 2 years of not doing it at all. So that's fine. Listen, we always have flyers and put them out and share them with people. But honestly, like since I've taken over this position, I think it's kind of word of mouth a lot of times.
Right.
I very much like things to, I don't know. I want to be presenting a good product, I guess. And so that's really been a focus for the last, how long have I been here? A long time.
Right.
And we had a very different format previously. I'm gonna go ahead and just talk about it. We had a different format going into the pandemic, but the time away, some people continued to train, like Derby was coming back right away. And some people just sat on the couch and did nothing. And some of us went and skated in other ways, because some people are in Derby because they want to do contact sports. Some are in Derby because there's a lot of reasons. But I like skating. I always have skated. So a bunch of us had gotten into doing trying rhythm skating, working on other footwork, and doing like park and ramp skating. And it's just a very different culture. And it was really eye-opening to some of the feedback I'd get from people why they wouldn't want to join Derby. And being like I've been doing this for like 12 years, it's just been my life. So it just seems normal to me that you would be at a roller rink multiple nights a week. But that's a huge commitment for a lot of people. And it's intimidating. Like it's a lot, even if you know how to skate. So coming back, we have revamped, and I know Wild has said it also, but in more of a boot camp format, so you could just come and take boot camps wherever, and never go all in. You don't have to. Like, you can learn how to skate, or you can learn how to derby, and just like come once a week and kind of hit your friends, like, or you can join us and get all in and do this. But before, there weren't really options, so we were trying to make it more accessible to people with different lifestyle needs. Because you don't have to be all in. We don't all have to drink the Kool-Aid and go in 100%. There's all kinds of different levels of commitment.
You had mentioned that the reason, everybody had a different reason for joining, and yours was that you just love skating. Is there a specific type of skating that you had always been fond of, or just all the above?
I mean, I roller skated a lot as like a kid, and did like competitive figure skating as like a kid, young teenager, and then like you get your driver's license and start to party, right?
Oh yeah,
but it's always kind of
that's
been
the
there.
wild side right there.
It might be her Saturday night. We'll see. Let her out of the house. Shoot. We'll see. Let's hope. But yeah, I lived with a roommate, and I got laid off from a job, and she invited me to go see a derby game in Southern Illinois. And then we decided that we should start our own league. Not this league, different league. But
Right.
Which was, hey guys, don't do it. It's a lot of work. Just go find one and join it. It's a whole lot. Just jump in one. Don't do it yourself. It's too much. But yeah, so we just started doing that. And yeah, that was so long ago, and we're still here.
I was gonna say, and the roller derby league has been around since 2005, the arch rival one, and I haven't brought this part up yet, but it's part of the Women's Flat Track Derby Association, the WFTDA, and it's like the National Wrestling Alliance of women's roller derby, flat track roller derby, and it's something that's worldwide. And I mean, just looking at some of the countries that have competing teams and organizations, I mean, obviously we have the United States, but we have Canada, Germany, Spain, Sweden, Iceland, Ireland, like most of Europe is there, but then you also got Colombia, Brazil. It's just wild that all these countries come together for a sport that people would not really think much of. Not a whole lot of people, in the grand scheme of things, think much of roller derby. But it is there, it's underrated, and it's very high intensity.
I think that's true for like a lot of sports, though. Like we all know, like the NBA or NFL or whatever. Like we all know that. But I mean, like even talking about pro wrestling and that there's smaller factions, and I don't know like the proper structure of that, but it's not just like the WWE. There's all kinds of stuff. Yeah. I mean, like one of our teammates, she just I forget the name of the team, and I'm going to say it wrong, and I'm going to ruin it. But she just had tried out and joined an ultimate frisbee league that's like competitive and all over, and tryouts and whatever. I'm like, freaking cool, right? Like, it's all over. So it's all a bunch of weird alternative sports. And I mean, when you're in them, you feel like everyone knows it, but that's because you're surrounded by it. But yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of weird stuff out there.
And there are apparently 400 now you ladies are one. We have one team after another, but there is a total of 463 full member leagues.
I'm glad you knew that, because I was scared you were going to ask and I didn't know the answer.
Yeah, so there's 463 full member leagues as of 2019. Now, of course, because of the pandemic, I'm not sure exactly how many have folded. I know that there's the Orange County Roller Girls, the Salt Lake City Derby Girls, and I believe the East Texas Bombers. Those were three of the ones that before the show I looked at that no longer are part of the WFTDA. But holy crap, 463. And, it amazes me. And I love that in St. Louis, it's the arch rival roller derby is so popular. I see articles, all the time from it. And I think a big reason for that for me also is my good friend, and I know yours, Brian Ledford. And he likes to consider himself the 26th string news reporter at Fox. Whenever he has to go on assignment, he says the 26th string news reporter here on the job.
Perfect.
What's it like working alongside and just with Brian, and how he's helped give the Arch Rival Roller Derby League the attention that you all deserve?
That man is so excited about roller derby. I was like, y'all. Oh my gosh, yes, he gets very excited. I mean, he's been here at Arch Rival. It's not in my notes over here. I don't even know how long, but before I was here, well before I moved here, he gets so excited and puts all this stuff together. I mean, he's the one that put together the relationship with Dynamo Pro Wrestling. I feel like there's kind of mixed reviews on that. I am very hyped about it. But I don't know. I also get real excited about professional wrestling. So this is who I am. I lost train of the question. I just was thinking about, I'm like, oh man, every time he gets so excited and so many words and so much excitement about this weird sport we all do.
I don't know. You see him there in the press box with the big hat on, and
yes.
He just is oozing the excitement of the roller derby game. And, of course, then we switch over to the Dynamo Pro side, the professional wrestling side. And, anybody that knows professional wrestling pretty much knows WWE. Right. What's it like when you get to experience seeing a more local promotion for the first time?
Dude, okay, so the only one that I've been to was the one that we did. Was it 2019 or was it 2020? The one that we paired up with them.
Right.
Basically. And I very much enjoy going to see like live WWE events. I couldn't tell you specifics. I'm just entertained. And so I didn't really know what to expect, like something that's, a little smaller, more local, like what that looks like. And it was so cool. I'm very, very excited about it. And I don't even know. What's it like? A great time. There was so much trash talk. It was so good, like in the best way. And I was like, I am so into this as I'm sitting there in my like sweaty workout clothes, right? Yes, it's great. If you don't care about roller derby, if you don't care and you just think it's dumb, and that's okay. We can all have opinions. It's wrong, but like you can have it. Right. Come and look at wrestling. It was cool.
So, well, first off, yeah, you're right. Everyone's entitled to an opinion, even if it's the wrong one, especially if they say roller derby is boring, because it is not. Like, that is like a definite don't judge a book by its cover type thing.
It's hard to say though, like I said, I've been doing this for like 12 years and been through multiple iterations of like our rules and changes and strategy changes. So it's hard to look at it as an outside person. But it can be confusing and weird. But I advise you look at it the way you would be like, I'm going to watch NASCAR. Because I mean, you're definitely going to at least see a few pileups, right? Like that's entertaining. Even if you don't know what's going on. So
the way I see it is also, look, and I do feel it's great that you ladies get a lot of local media attention. I feel like it should be shown programming wise more, because this is the way I look at it. If they have freaking poker and badminton and other and like shuffleboard and stuff like that on television, the very least you can do is have like roller derby, like women's roller derby. And I remember a lot of people actually started to get more attention on it when there was an episode of Family Guy when the character Meg actually joined a women's roller derby team.
Or King of the Hill, didn't Peggy?
And Peggy joined. And Peggy joined one on King of the Hill. So we can hope that it gets the bigger attention, but as for now, it's just great seeing the attention it gets. But here's one thing I also have to. So I asked WydleSyde how she got her name. How did you get Soup Beans?
I don't know.
Where did?
I don't know. I'm very much of the. I have had many names over the years. I'm not even. This is not even my name this weekend. I very much believe in having a bunch of dumb names on your shirts. I love it so much. A lot of people take it way too seriously. I don't know. It's evolved over the years for various nicknames. I have only named myself once, and since then it's just evolved from people calling you weird things or your friends teasing you. And really, I think that's the correct way to get a nickname. Like, you can't really nickname yourself. Like, come on.
No, see, I totally agree because so with the Wrestle Talk podcast, which is on every Tuesday night, they gave me the nickname the Maestro. Because I've been doing journalism and things of that nature and broadcasting stuff for 10 plus years now. And so this comes natural to me. I had thought of other nicknames, but then one of the guys had told me, he's like, no, this is the tradition. All new hosts, the other guys get to pick their new nickname. And the Maestro has like crossed over to other shows and programming. And I dig it. So like, yeah, I do agree that you really shouldn't nickname yourself only because it's the outside perspective of how people see you.
Well, I think people give themselves nicknames or derby names or whatever it is because it's the persona they want to present. Sometimes people do it because it's like, this is this is my job and it's a pun on my, job or whatever. But people are going to call you what they're going to call you because it's going to happen. Like, you're going to go drink with your friends. One of my favorites is when I was in Cape Girardeau. So we had a new skater that joined us and she had just passed all of her stuff and was scrimmage eligible. And she couldn't decide on a name. And in those days, we didn't win any games, but we would win every after party. All of them.
Undefeated in the after parties.
I'm too old. I can't handle it. But so we'd end up at Denny's because nothing else was 24 hours. And it became this weird running joke about the pancake puppy sundae, which I don't know if they always have that on the menu or if that was a special thing, but it was like little wads that were like pancakes, but then it was nice. Anyway, it was this whole thing, and that became her derby name. And that was her derby name the entire time she played. And she played for multiple teams at all kinds of levels all over. And yeah, just different versions of that name. And I love that she accepted it and kept it. I just think it's great. And then I can tell you the story right now.
So, I was going to say, and I looked it up. Yes, I'm pretty sure they do still have them. And honestly, Denny's sounds so good right now. And no, I must say to the audience, no, Denny's did not pay me for that little cheap plug. Don't get me wrong. Both of us would not mind if they did, but they did not. We would just ask a handsome, 4 or 5 figure sum. No big deal.
I was just going to ask for pancake puppy sundae, but okay. Okay.
Hey, that works too. Okay, so when we talked about professional wrestling before the show, we had talked about how, because I don't know one person that has never heard this before. When people say professional wrestling is fake. And I have had guys who I've known for years on the show who rightfully so get pissed when they hear that. Because the amount of blood, sweat, and tears you have to pour into the wrestling industry, like you do with roller derby, like you do with football, baseball, anything. They're all sports. What is like your perspective when you hear somebody like when you say like you watch WWE or something, and then somebody says, well, you know that stuff's fake, right? Why would you watch it?
So like you watch TV, right? Or you like go to a theater. That's also not real. But dang, if they didn't have to work hard to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're entertained, right? You're entertained. And unlike a movie, that is some athleticism. Like I want to see somebody. I can't do that. You could train. Never in a million years. Like it's amazing. It's like a beautiful dance. And there's trash talk. I like that too. But no, I was like, I'm not paid by any sort of wrestling. I have no ties. I'm like, no, like it's amazing. It's an amazing athletic feat. I think it's cool. I mean, I can't imagine the amount of time people train like to be able to participate in that and like make it cool and make it entertaining and prevent injuries. I mean, like, yeah, it's fake, right? But you can't throw me on the ground. I would just fall apart. Like there was artistry and there was skill, and it's so cool.
I think and it's exactly right. There's so much athleticism and skill that goes into all of it. And the Dynamo Pro Heavyweight Champion, Camaro Jackson, who will be competing this Saturday, so you'll see him Saturday. Try not to have your heart melted by him. He does this move that we call him the Quad Father. That's one thing he's known as.
Oh, I love where this is going. Okay, I don't know this person, but I'm excited.
No, okay. Like his quad, this dude is jacked. He's fit, and he's hilarious. But anyway, one time he actually was working a dark match, which is a match that's not televised, with All Elite Wrestling. And it was at Shea Fitz Arena in St. Louis. So he got a nice reception from the crowd and everything because a lot of people there know who he is from out here. He did a move where, normally there's a move called the suplex. You lift them, like you cradle them and drop them back. He literally stands his opponent up. So he's lifting the person halfway up and he just holds them there. And then to make it more intense, he starts squatting.
No.
So imagine holding a person upside down on your shoulder, like right here, and then just squatting about a few times.
Mm-hmm.
That's Camaro Jackson. That's what he does. That's the Quad Father in a nutshell. And I mean, he went from being the D1 champion in Dynamo Pro to ending Lights Out Adrian Surge's near 1,000 day streak. Adrian Surge was heading into last December's event with a near 1,000 day streak of being the Dynamo Pro Heavyweight Champion, and Camaro Jackson beat him in a title for title match.
That a long time?
That is a very long time. But to put it in even more perspective, Reign Victoria, who will be competing this Saturday in a triple threat match, she's been defending her title for 4 years.
What is a triple threat match? I mean, I'm seeing
a triple threat match is
everyone at once.
Yeah, there's 3 competitors in the match at once. And it's very dangerous for the champion because the champion doesn't have to be pinned or tap out to lose. So it's Reign Victoria versus Maddie Exodus and Ashlyn Alexander. 3 phenomenal ladies right there. If Maddie, for example, pins Ashlyn, Maddie's the new champion. Even if Reign is not involved in any way. That's the craziness of a triple threat match.
So if that's happening, then it would be in the champion's best interest to stop that from happening, right?
Right. The champion would do whatever is possible to honestly escape with the victory. So what she could also do, she could just let the 2 ladies beat the heck out of each other, and then once one gets a attempted pin, break up the pin the opponent herself, and then boom.
Oh, that's so shady. I love it.
It's still a victory. There you go. Like that's sometimes I guess you got to do it. And if that happens on Saturday, I'm not going to lie. I am so screwed because they're going to be like, she took your advice. You're the reason. I'll be like, oh, God. Didn't do it. I didn't know she'd listen. Hey, I would say to myself, look, I'm just thankful she tuned in. But yeah, so that's it's called a fatal 3-way. And yeah, Camaro Jackson's going to be competing, and there will also be 2 other matches that have yet to be announced. And
We
on
have
our
insider information.
yeah, that's the insider information in me that I'm working on trying to get, but I will post it on the I-70 Sports Facebook page and Twitter account and all that once that information comes to me. But we'll be having how many games? They'll be having 4 matches for the Dynamo Pro event, but how many games will there be for the roller derby event
on Saturday?
Yes.
Oh, it's just one.
It's just one. Okay.
It's one. It'll be 2 30-minute periods.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. It's still going to be one heck of a show. So we're nearing the end, but there's a question I always ask the guests basically before I send them off and thank them for everything. So I'm going to ask it to you. There's someone in the world, say there's somebody out there in the world who's struggling to try to find their footing and try to find the proper motivation, find something that they love and what to do. What's the best motivation that you can give to someone out there?
Oh, God. I didn't know I was going to have to be deep and introspective here.
I know, right? That's the fun part.
I don't know if it's like truly, I don't know. I think that when people are trying new things, whether it's like a sport or like learning a new skill, you get intimidated by the people around you, the people that have been doing the thing or making the art or doing the sport for so many years, because you only see the end result and you feel like you have to be there. Like that's where you have to be, but everyone starts somewhere. Whatever that is that they're doing. And it's really hard not to compare yourself to those people, because if you're starting a thing, especially if you're passionate about it, like you want to be the best at it, right?
Right.
Like regardless of what it is. But I think it is really important to remind yourself that you only really need to compete with yourself and be better than you were the day before at whatever the thing is. Whatever. Because then you eventually will be great at the thing you do. You just got to keep doing it. But if you never start it, like, you don't know. You might be the best. You don't know.
I love it.
That was my weird circle of advice.
This is the part where you're like, I'm Soup Beans. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. Feel free to tune in. Find me on Instagram for more motivational speeches.
There you go. That saves the trouble on the social media plug. Well, Soup Beans, it has been such a pleasure having you on. And once again, for those that are really wanting to see her in action, she'll be competing this Saturday night at Queenie Park in Baldwin, Missouri at 6:30 at Jams and Slams. It's basically a St. Louis roller derby and pro wrestling event. And she will be on the Block and Roll Express, taking on our previous guest, the president of the Arch Rival Roller Derby League, WydleSyde, from the New Wheeled Order. And I'm telling you, folks, once again, so tickets are $15 at the door, $12 in advance, and children 10 and under are free. There is a COVID policy as far as that you need a proof of vaccination or a negative test required for the entry. But honestly, that's not hard to come by. So, definitely all you gotta do is that. But yeah. And if also advanced discounted tickets are available, I should say, at archrivalrollerderby.com. So that's archrivalrollerderby.com for those $12 tickets. Get them while you can. Like I said, there was a big crowd in February 2020. Over 675 people showed up for the event at Queenie Park. I'm expecting, honestly, a lot more to show up this time around. So
same. It's been a minute. So
it has been a minute. So, Soup Beans, I just want to say it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being on this evening.
Oh, thank you, friend. This was lovely.
Oh, this was absolutely a great time. So, Soup Beans, ladies and gentlemen, from the Arch Rival Roller Derby Team League here on Roundabout Sports, presented by Interstate 70 Sports Media. Be safe and have yourself a wonderful night.
Cool.
Bye. I'm telling you that I am excited for Saturday, folks. That is going to be one kick-ass show, and between the wrestling and the roller derby, so much athleticism, skill required for everybody, all the men and women that are going to be taking place in any type of event on Saturday night. So I'm going to say it just one more time before we do close the show. You can find your tickets, the advanced tickets, at archrivalrollerderby.com. And so you can find that, and those are $12 tickets, $15 at the door. And if you have children 10 and under, they get to get in for free. Lucky them. Make sure you have a proof of vaccination or a negative test, and you'll be good to go to get in. And the event will be starting at 6:30 p.m. Following the event, which should be about 8 o'clock, 8:10 p.m., Dynamo Pro Wrestling will take off. And the main event, once again, is actually going to be a triple threat, fatal three-way Dynamo Pro Women's Championship match featuring Reign Victoria versus the Monarch Maddie Exodus and the Simply Rebellious one, Ashlyn Alexander. So with that, folks, I just want to say it has been an absolute pleasure once again this week. As always, I'm going to put on the bottom of the screen the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. Especially during the times that we've been in, mental health awareness is at needing to be at an all-time high. And the following hotline at the bottom, 1-800-273-8255, helps emphasize the notion that you're never alone. There's always somebody out there that'll listen. And know that you're always loved. The line is open 24/7, 365, 366 on leap years. And yeah, just know you're never alone. Someone always loves you. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in this evening, and I'd like to thank both WydleSyde and Soup Beans for being on. They're both fantastic people as much as they are athletes. And I look forward to next week when we do this again. But until then, always remember, life is a book full of empty pages just waiting to be written in. Make your lives worth reading.